Yes, welcome to the Star Trek Discovery After Show. Yes, that's right, Star Trek Discovery, not Picard. We're not talking JL today. We are talking about Discovery, the show that brought into the Star Trek universe Mr. Flobo Boyce. Say hello, sir.
Hey, what's going on? Even though I did come to like Raffi, it's not about her today. It's about Discovery, which for me, it is Star Trek.
It's never about Raffi. And also joining us, Nikki Bailey.
Hey. So excited. Did y'all see Burnham's hair? Woo! Can't wait.
There are many options.
And putting the mood in mood lighting, the one, the only, Frank Moran.
Hey, everybody.
Now, for those that aren't just listening, for those that are watching, are you in Ernie's bed or Bert's bed? Because I can't quite tell which one that is. Definitely one of them.
Birds. This is birds, baby.
Yeah. Because Ernie's bed is filled with crumbs, so you don't want to eat. You don't want to lay down in that one.
And obviously, Christian's been spending a lot of time with his kids if he knows the details of Bert and Ernie's sleeping arrangements.
It's an HBO now. It's all good.
Yeah.
Love is love.
Yeah, as my son calls it, he asked me to put on the Hobo Now button, the HBO Now button. So, yes, and I am indeed Christian Bladt, and we're talking Star Trek Discovery, and you're like, wait a minute, this is going to be a spoiler for the Season 3 premiere. I must not have... No, we're just going to talk about the trailer for a little bit. This is going to be a short episode, but we thought it was a good excuse to get the whole band back together, and we will talk a little bit about it. So, Frank Moran, when Star Trek Discovery Season 2 ended, you were firmly in the camp of... yeah, I'm good. I don't need any more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was totally fine. I was good. Story's done for me. I'm good. I don't need to see any more. So far, I mean, this brief minute 40-second trailer, it hasn't done much to convince me otherwise. So we'll just have to see until I get a full episode. Maybe I'll change my tune.
So you've seen a minute and 40 seconds more than you thought you would, and
True.
You're willing to see at least 30 seconds more. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, we saw some Andorians. We saw some Trills.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of all I remember, so I hope you guys took better notes than I did. Flobo Boyce, Star Trek Discovery, as we mentioned, the show that brought you into Star Trek. Your thoughts from what we saw and heard about Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery.
I'm kind of in the camp as Frank is. Like, I'm glad there's a third season. Don't get me wrong. I love Discovery. I love the design, everything about it. But if it ended in Season 2, I would be content for it for a different reason. What made Discovery awesome for me is that it didn't really tie itself to a lot of continuity in Season 1. So for someone like myself, I was able to come on and be a part of it. I guess due to fan service or setting up the story, there are a lot more tendrils going out to the original series that I felt I had to stop the show and research, and I guess it was more for the long-term fan. So not saying I was lost, but it was a lot less enjoyable. So even though I was content with it ended, I really want to see more. I want to see more of these characters untethered to the main continuity of Star Trek as we know it. So I'm excited.
Well, I do think that going the 930 years in the future will make the series more accessible. Somebody who jumps in now, maybe somebody who signs up because they want to see Season 2 of The Twilight Zone, which it will be premiering on June 25th. And then after that, they're like, you know what? I'll stick around. What's that?
My birthday.
Well, happy birthday. In the Twilight Zone. Which is sort of like where we're living right now, because it's like probably not going to be happy birthday.
No,
there won't be.
It'll be happy. It'll just be face covered and in your house.
And it'll look like this. We'll all sing to you. We won't sing happy birthday because we don't want to pay the royalties on it, but we'll sing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow.
I appreciate that. And DoorDash me gifts. I appreciate that too.
Yeah. So I think that that's one possible benefit to going 930 years in the future, which just sounds dumb in the trailer. I was just like, just say 1,000. It's fine. 1,000 sounds way cooler than
Sure.
Like, who decided on that completely arbitrary?
What's up, guys? 930.
Well, look, if there's anybody who's going to go back and complain after the fact, like it's Star Trek fans. Actually, it was not 1,000 years. It was 930. And
that is true.
So
you know that they did have somebody who sat down and was like, all right, theoretically, what would the actual math be to make that work? So I actually am I'm looking forward to it, but part of me feels like the first 2 seasons were their own thing. And from this trailer, it looks like a new show is starting. So it was like we got through the working out the things with the Klingons and everything in the first 2 seasons. All right, that was fun. And now we're in this whole new thing that looks like a new series to me. You're 930 years in the future, and you can now create anything from that, right? So it's a whole new series. And I think you're right. It's a great time for someone who's never done Star Trek it seems like it would be a good idea, a good time to start. I'm also super excited about Michael's hair. I love all of the style choices. You guys don't know this, but hair for Black women is a very big deal. And her hair infuriated me for both of the first 2 seasons. Just every single episode, I was like, the hell with her hair. So yes, I'm excited to see a sister in the future, still making the natural work. I don't know where she got the
I'm saying, who's braiding her hair in the future?
Right.
Klingon is braiding her hair in the future, Nikki.
She might could braid her own hair. I want to know though where she got the extensions from though. Like
replicators.
She replicated some extensions. She had a curly look. I'm very excited about her hair. That's like legit the thing I'm most excited about.
Wow. Can I get some baby hair replicator, please?
Frank, whose hair are you most excited for?
Sure.
I'm leaning towards Cadet Tilly, but you tell me who you're excited about.
It's actually one thing about the show is, and I know because you're all Voyager fans. Tried to
I actually am a Voyager fan. Yes.
Somebody has to be.
Haven't got there yet.
But for the episodes when they did the Year in Hell episodes, and you basically follow the Voyagers are going through this a tremendously dangerous area of the Delta Quadrant, and the ship has changed, and Transformers are kind of acclimating and adapting to all the struggles that they're going through. By the end of it, it's a time loop, and the Voyager gets restored just to its regular look. But what I loved about that was just seeing these people are traveling this huge amount of distance to get home, and they're having to adapt to all these new trials and tribulations. So the Voyager is changing because they're adapting. I'm hoping that same thing happens to Star Trek Discovery. For Discovery, that the fact that they're 930 years in the future, technology is advanced so far. I mean, it's already jumped so far from Picard to going to Discovery. So now 930 years past that, I want to see the ship actually adapt and change to where technology is at that point. So I'm excited as a serialized show. If they could do some of that, I would be jazzed.
Well, you mispronounced.
To me, it looks like they're going to take the same ship into the future.
Yeah, it looks like the same ship.
But they may take down Pike's view screens, right? And go back to holograms?
Yeah, because he didn't like the view screen. He didn't like the holograms. And by the way, Frank, you mispronounced Trials and Tribulations.
My apologies.
Yeah,
You're right.
Let's be. And
I get that reference now.
Yeah. Oh, you do.
Took me a while, but I get it now.
That's great. We'll talk about some of Flobo's extracurricular activities. Independent study that he's doing for Star Trek. Yeah, look, I think it definitely gives me that feeling like I had at the end of Picard, where it's like, I don't know if I need this story. I'll watch it. I like some of these characters. And I mean, I really enjoyed the 2 seasons of Discovery. I thought that they were both really good. I liked the second one even more. We're not going to have Pike. We're not going to have Spock. We're not going to have Number One. We're not going to have any of that. But I'm still interested in seeing where these characters go because I like the characters. So they were able to at least get me on board to that extent. But I do find some of the imagery and references in this trailer to be a little troubling. I feel like it's in like direct contrast to Gene Roddenberry's vision that they go 930 years in the future and they talk about the Federation, being ghosts and it's not around anymore. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that his happily ever after had a postscript of, a few hundred years. And then they're like, oh, just kidding. Things get really bad again, So I don't think of things being that bad in the Star Trek universe. You know, I think I don't know. I hope things aren't too much of a bummer. You know, I think you come to Star Trek because you want the hope and the optimism, and I don't need the gritty realism. You know, you can go to Battlestar Galactica if you want that. The reboot, not the OG.
Oof,
Right.
that shit is dark, fool.
Yes, it is. This, yeah. Look, and you know, it's like, you know, I get like an hour a week out in the yard where I get sunshine. You know, so when I'm inside, I don't need something that's gonna bum me out. You know,
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, it's hard to tell from the trailer, but again, a lot of the things I liked about Star Trek, especially Discovery, is that it has that expanse very similar to the Green Lantern universe, of which my lantern is right there.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Oh,
Look at that. He's got his WWE hat and his Green Lantern, and he's talking Star Trek. He's just like, I'm a five-tool nerd.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to Mr. Met, too. He's on my wall.
Oh, my God, Mr. Met.
Well, the thing is, I liked about how, towards like the later period, the Jeff Johns run, Frank, you can probably talk about this, and how they kept playing around with the Guardians of the Universe, how they were always this like force for good, but they kind of weren't, and they held secrets, but then it caused even more problems, and there were some arcs where it looked like the whole thing was going to be destroyed, but I think the journey of rebuilding it to former glory was kind of inspiring to its own right, because the intergalactic peacekeeping force. So I'm hoping it's something like that in this. Like, I don't want to see, you know, the Federation of Planets destroyed and it's over with, but if it's a chance to rebuild to its former glory, then I'm on board too.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like
perfectly timed, right? Like, I mean, we are at a place in our own history where rebuilding is going to be necessary. So that would be very inspiring if that's what we'd be dealing with, but we don't have enough information yet.
Nikki, what do you mean? I don't get out much. What kind of rebuilding needs to happen?
You know, like being able to like leave the house and stuff again.
No, I don't do that. That's not
my
thing.
No. Yeah.
No, I know what you mean though. Yeah, I think that it might start on a little bit of a down note, but in true Star Trek fashion, it'll come around and hopefully. Frank, you don't want there to be a bright and sunny day. The gloomier, the better, right? That's how you look at the world. Yeah.
If I'm not, you know, soul crushed and weeping every single week, I will consider this season a huge failure.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you like Riverdale, because it takes the bright and sunny world of Archie, and then it says, yeah, but what if Zack Snyder did it?
That's right. I mean, I'm watching now snuff films on Riverdale, so it's great. It's great.
So on brand.
The show's gone.
I just wanted a milkshake from Pop's Chocolate Shop.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, if I as somebody who wasn't that jazzed about seeing a season 3, the only thing I can hope for is that it's not so Burnham centric. I would love for, now that we're in the future, it seems like a whole new world is open. Let's open it up. I would love to see some more individual time spent to some of these characters that we hardly know. Let's see some stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a great speech in the trailer from Saru, and I like the idea of seeing him in a leadership role. I know they keep trying to not let him be the captain, but at some point you just got to be like, yeah, because you're not going to turn the ship over to evil Georgiou. Like, let's not forget
he's the only viable option at this point.
Because it's not her, even though she technically outranks him. She's still not the right. She's not the good option. And whatever happened, I thought she was getting her own show, but
yeah, there was some talk about
it was going to be a Section 31 show. And then at the end of season 2, she like jumped into the future with them, and I'm like, oh, well, that was the clean break we could have gotten, where she's like, I'm going to go this way, you know? It's like in Super Mario, I'm going to go down pipe number 4, and in pipe number 4 is my own series. But instead, she's like, I'll go down pipe number 3 and just hang out with Luigi. It'll be all right.
Because maybe in the future, in 930 years in the future, you're going to need somebody whose moral compass is a lot more flexible.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Than everyone else's. So,
Frank, you referenced that we saw some Andorans and some Trills. What sort of Easter eggs showed up beyond that? Is there anything else that you noticed, or the Andorans was because I watched it a few times so I could at least remember some of it when we talked. The Andorans was the thing that really stood out to me the first time, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that was one of the things I liked about Enterprise was getting that race involved. So any chance to see Andorians on a bigger scale, I'm all for. But other than that, and the Trills, I didn't see anything that just immediately jumped out to me in terms of Easter egg stuff.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments if you saw anything, and you can shame us for not noticing. And really, just it's on me. I'm the one who should have noticed. So, well, we don't have a release date. And when Flobo, you tweeted your excitement about this trailer, I immediately rained on your parade, and I was like, "Yeah, it just says 2020. We don't know. It could be December. Like, we don't really know when this is coming. I feel like it's going to be in the fall. It seems like it's done." So I feel like they're going to bring it to us sooner than later. But what do you guys think? How soon do you think we're going to get this? I'll ask you first, Flobo.
I thought it would be kind of the end of the summer. So maybe not quite fall, but like August or the end of July. So the 14 weeks will run right before Thanksgiving time. And that'd be pretty much like whatever the next cycle is for whatever shows on CBS All Access. But yeah, it's hard to tell, especially now with production shutting down and pilots not getting picked up. I don't know if I'm CBS, I'm going to hold it close to my chest because it's premium content for 2021. So it's hard to say right now.
And if there's anybody on this show who knows about premium content, it is Flobo Boyce, who generates new content, not every week. Every day at this point.
Every day now. I'm just locked in nothing to do. I just type away. Click, clack, clack, clack.
Frank, how often do you generate new content these days?
Zero. I'm a new content black hole.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I like this guy. He has some show. Black hole. Sorry. Can't do it.
There you go.
Black Hole. Hey, I mean, that's a great film. We could do a watch along.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I know that CBS's All Access is rebranding itself since they've merged with Viacom. So I could see, and they're supposed to do it this summer. They're supposed to do the big, flashy kind of refresh and relaunch. So I could see Discovery kind of being part of that initial launch to get people sucked back into it.
Well, the interesting thing is that what I'm reading is that Twilight Zone is going to be, it's going to be a binge show. I think they're going to drop them all at once. And I think their whole business model is built on keeping Star Trek fans paying for this thing for 13 to 17 weeks, whatever it is that they'll do for the season. So I don't think we're going to get it all at once. And they might even do like they did for season 1, where they take a little break and then they hope people forget to cancel it for the break. So what do you think, Nikki, in terms of when we'll get it and how often we'll get it? Do you think that you think there's a chance that we might just have to spend a weekend, all of us watching the whole show, and watch an episode, record an after show, watch an episode, and just not sleep for a full Saturday?
I'm about to do that with Rami in a couple of weeks. I have a full day of that, so I hope not, because that's a lot. I do think I have just in talking to my friends who work in post-production, like even a lot of them aren't working. Like even though they could have, hard drives dropped off at their homes or whatever, a lot of my like post-production friends aren't working at all either. So I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm assuming they have enough of it done or most of it done. So if they're able to put a trailer out, but are they done editing? Are they completely done with post? And do they have people doing that right now? I don't think that we should expect it before like September, October, and I hope that they do it as a weekly, so that I have a reason to look forward to the next week.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think September makes sense. And of course, for those of us that live in Los Angeles, September will be the halfway point in our quarantine. So we'll what?
Because every 3 weeks they add 2 months. So it's
exactly. It's like, sorry to get local on our audience, but it's like, oh, no. In dining in restaurants is opening in the rest of the state. Screw you, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere till August. I don't want to go to a restaurant. That's not the point. It's just like, hey, you want some good news? Yeah, that's for everybody else. Screw you. You don't.
That is some Frank Moran level of cynicism right there. So
that was really, that was like.
I'm definitely Ernie to his Bert. But yeah, I just wanted sooner than later. You know, everything. You know, you're just like, yeah. Even if it's the post is only done in 3 episodes, great. Just give us those, and then we'll wait as long as it takes. Well, I'm excited, and when we know more, we'll let the audience know. Before we wrap up this little mini episode, we alluded to it. Flobo, you have been watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Now, is this because you finished Next Generation?
Yes, I finished Next Generation, and I figured I thought I would dabble, and so I put a little tweet out, said, hey guys, I finished TNG, let me know what I should watch next. And while I was waiting for the results of that poll, I watched The Cage, and then the results came back DS9. So I kind of, one episode of the original series, I went right to DS9, and I'm on season 2, episode 19 or 20 as of this recording. So. And
as of now, who stands out as a character that you closely identify with? Who's your favorite? Basically?
Yeah, well, again, I'm kind of biased because he's my favorite comic book character of all time. But Cisco reminds me a lot of Green Lantern John Stewart, especially the fact he's so judicious, even to the point of his own detriment. So it's cool to see when something happens, he's all like level-headed, almost to a fault. So I'm here for sure.
I mean, I always liked him because I was a Spencer for Hire fan.
Wow.
You know?
What?
Yes.
The movie is not the same as the show. The movie is a way different tone.
Tell us how old you are, man. There you go.
Just saying, like, you know, if you like Robert Urich, you're gonna like Avery Brooks. But no, I like the show. I was always an Odo fan, though, because if you want another old reference, it's because I liked him on Benson. So,
ooh, that's a mom
taking
reference.
It way back. Woo!
If you wanted me to take it even further back, I liked Benson when he was on Soap. So you see, you can just pull back your layers. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Billy Crystal. Shout out to Billy Crystal.
Yeah. Sure, shout out to Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal, man.
What do you think, Frank, when you think back on DS9? Obviously, he's only in season 2. I think there's a lot of great stuff for Flobo to come. I mean, I think that the final seasons, or the last season in particular, I think it ended really strong, is what I'm trying to say.
Uh-oh. I might be unstable. Flobo, before we dive too much into Deep Space Nine, did you cry at the finale of Next Generation as you wrapped it all up?
I didn't cry, but I was bummed out. I was kind of like, okay, that was all right. You know, I wanted time to be alone, but I already was alone.
For those of us who saw it when it happened, it's like, oh, it's bittersweet. However, you knew that there was going to be a movie. You know what I mean? It's in a real movie, not Generations. Like, you knew that they were ending the show so that they could make what would become First Contact. So it's like, if every show ended in the way, like, and you knew in the Cheers finale, I think, was the same year. And if they were like, yeah, but don't worry, there's going to be a Cheers movie next year. You'd be like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah. You know? Close it down. Yeah, we're closed.
So he's fine. Yeah. Yeah, we're closed. Great. But we'll be open again in a year. So, so I don't know. What about you, Nikki? What are your thoughts on DS9? We throw a lot of Voyager shade on this show, but I haven't really heard you say much about DS9.
I liked DS9. I never fell deeply in love with it. I did, however, have a huge crush on Nana Visitor, who's Kira. Huge crush. So a lot of my watching it was that. And I don't know that I finished the whole series. I'm actually thinking back on it now. Like, did I finish Deep Space Nine? And so I think I'm gonna start it because I just rewatched Veep, and that was really fun. And I was like, what would be a fun thing to rewatch right now? And I think DS9 might be where I go.
Well, especially if you didn't finish it. I mean, look, I know for a fact that I didn't finish Voyager, and that I jumped to the finale of Enterprise years after because I heard how terrible it was. And everyone was right. But
I could not watch Enterprise at all. It just...
Well, it was tough for me because again, 80s TV reference. I loved Scott Bakula because I was a huge Quantum Leap fan, and I still could not connect to that show.
Right? Didn't you think, oh my gosh, Scott Bakula, it's going to be great, I'm going to love it?
Yeah,
No.
believe me, that's what I thought.
No, I never said that in my life.
Well,
NCIS New Orleans, Scott Bakula.
that's because Scott Bakula was like the sci-fi guy for our generation. Like he was in every sci-fi thing that was created at the time. So
Yeah, you're right. NCIS New Orleans. No, you're more of an NCIS LA guy. I feel
Of
it.
course, man. You know, Ella Cool J.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you to get further in the show, and if I had time to like ever turn on my TV, I would love to rewatch DS9. I would even finish Voyager because I'm sort of intrigued, even though I hate so many of those there's so many of those characters. You know,
So many.
they're
Like,
awesome.
if you can promise me that Neelix gets sucked out of an airlock and we get to watch him die slowly.
Are you kidding? Neelix was so cute.
Hey, wait, was that Voyager the show where they turned to salamanders one time? Is that the one?
Does anybody know the answer to that? Because that does not sound like something I know.
Look this up. Oh, we'll definitely look this up.
By the way, I saw that actor who plays Neelix at a party, and I explained to my wife, I'm like, if I went over to him, I'd be like, "Hi, I just wanted to say that I hated your character more than any other in Star Trek."
Wow, you know.
But he seemed like a nice guy, so I didn't.
Have you guys watched Avenue 5 on HBO?
No, I want to see it because Hugh Laurie uses his British accent in that, right?
He uses his British
Yeah,
accent.
because I literally
yeah.
cannot watch him do an American accent. I've never seen more than 2 minutes of House because he opened his mouth and I'm like, nope, that's not what he sounds like.
Well, the actor who plays Neelix is on Avenue 5, and every time he comes on the screen, I go, Neelix! So
maybe I won't check out Avenue 5 then.
it's actually really good. It's really funny. It's like stupid space drama. It's like Arrested Development in space. It's just
I do like that. I mean,
it's just a lot of incompetent people being in space, and it's wonderful.
Well, did it finish its first season? I assume it must have at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll check it out. Frank Moran, what are you watching? You rewatching any Trek? Going through Picard season 1 episode by episode?
Yeah.
writing some Raffi fanfic.
Oh yes. Oh man. I haven't been watching too much, which is a shame. I mean, I was just watching some of The Flash, but that's about it. And Legends of Tomorrow. Still watching that show.
I didn't even realize I did not know that one was still on. But see, that's great. And what shows are you doing here at AfterBuzz? We'll all go through and we'll plug all of our shows. You still doing Riverdale, Frank?
Still doing Riverdale. Finally, the season's done. Thank goodness. The best thing that happened out of this COVID-19 crisis is that the Riverdale season was cut short. Thankfully.
One day you'll look back.
Archie fanatic. That's the first nerdom I ever got a part of. But I cannot watch that show, bro.
Wait, what's the first nerdom you became a fan of?
Archie comics.
Archie.
I used to read Advance, but I used to hate reading like textbooks. So my mentor gave me comic books. And Jughead's my homeboy. I'm a huge fan. But I still buy the comic books, but I can't watch that show.
I've read one Archie comic in its entirety. The most unlikely crossover that you've ever heard.
Archie Predator?
Archie and the Punisher.
Punisher. That's a good one.
Yes.
Was pretty great.
Red.
The Punisher shows up in Riverdale, but he's hunting someone.
Looking for Red, and Archie has red hair.
He does not shoot moose, although I think he probably should have.
That is hilarious.
So, Flobo, wait a minute. So, Frank, just Riverdale was the only after show you were doing, or
Riverdale, Legends of Tomorrow, and then still General Hospital.
Oh, GH.
Whoa,
GH, baby.
Man, I've talked about this before, but my grandparents used to plan everything they did around General Hospital. They either had to leave our house by 2:00, so they'd be home by 3 to watch it, or they were staying for dinner. Like there's no in between.
Oh yeah, that I would rush home from school, throw my stuff on the floor, and it was Luke and Laura.
They started watching it when the show started, and there were like 2 weeks ever that they went to Denmark for my uncle's wedding, and they would still talk about that 2 weeks that they missed, that they just don't know what happened. So,
still, that would haunt them. We
That's
can't. We
adorable.
still can't appreciate the stories now. We don't know what happened.
You know, Frank, I wish you were still doing box office breakdown because I actually contributed to some box office. I went to a drive-in 2 weekends ago, and I contributed $20 to the total gross of Trolls World Tour.
Oh, beautiful! I let it come to me and watched it at home.
That's what most people
the
did.
shows- Yeah, I mean, we still want to do the show,
I'm-
but with no new releases. It's been just on hiatus until whenever the movies start coming back to us.
Yeah.
But we
I'm
got
not
Scoob this
spending-
week, everybody.
I'm not spending $20 on Troll. I'm not doing it. I have like one of those memberships at the movie theater where you pay every month and you can see like 500 movies. I'm not spending the same amount that I spend on that to watch Trolls at home. I'm not doing it.
But I got to watch it. I got to watch it in my car
That's right.
and
That's
listen to
fine.
it on the radio.
Oh,
Wow. All these old school references. Soap,
That's really
driving
fun,
radios.
But
Yeah, but
Christian,
it's a new movie.
did they have concessions, or no? You had to bring your own.
Oh, they had them, but I didn't get out of the car, so I wouldn't be able to tell you about it.
Got it.
But no, what I will tell you is that the people who were getting the concessions, you could see they were all like wrapped up in plastic, and all the drinks were either cans or they had lids. And I mean, just seriously, honestly, looking forward, I think that's whenever movie theaters open, you're not going to get the big open bucket of popcorn anymore. Everything's going to have lids. It's going to be, tightly wrapped up. And self-serve fountain drinks seem very unlikely.
yeah.
I was the one early on in this, the one time I went to a restaurant to get pickup, and I was watching people use the communal soda fountain to get their drinks, and I was like, no, that's exactly what we shouldn't be doing right now.
No.
But see, with popcorn, that's such a personal thing. Like, I love tons of butter and salt, and
Yeah.
if I'm just getting it bagged and packaged for me,
Well, they'll
I
give
don't-
you they'll give
You
you the
could
salt.
bring a
Yeah.
Tupperware. Bring a little Tupperware container with
The
your
man
butter
has
and
standards,
it.
Nikki. I can't
Yeah.
believe he has a compromise.
with my
I'm
melted
just
butter,
saying.
just
Yeah.
pour my melted butter in.
I come from a family where my mom would pack an entire meal in a bag that looked like a purse, and then we would sit down at the movies and she would hand everybody a little plate and we would eat dinner at the movies. She
That's
did not
great.
play.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's usually what my wife and I would do. I mean, if we had time to have dinner first, then we might. But yeah. And by the way, your driving question. Look, I grew up. There's still a drive-in in Warwick, New York, that is still open. There's not a lot of them out there, but most of them are in the West Coast. But so we would go, and yeah, we would never buy concessions. Come on. You make the big bowl of microwave popcorn and you put the lid on it and you hope it's at least kind of warm by the time you get there. And one of the double features that I went to tie it all back to what we're supposed to be talking about, the second film was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The first, Star Trek V,
Wow, that was like one of your least favorite movies.
which I saw in the theater 3 times.
You hate that movie, though.
Yeah, but it was a movie, and it was Star Trek. It
Okay.
took me a little while to realize. I'm like, wait, I don't have to keep seeing it, do I?
No,
Anyway, we
I will
went
be
down a
saying,
little.
on Twitter, I've seen several people with the hot take that Star Trek V is one of their favorite Star Trek films.
Well, here's
And
the thing. Star Trek V was the worst Star Trek movie, and then they made it like 7 more. So it's got the original cast, and unfortunately, it's directed by Shatner, and they try to pack all the jokes in that worked in 4, and so the humor just really doesn't land in it. But yeah, if I were to rewatch it, right now I'd much rather watch it than Insurrection. I don't even have to think twice.
Well, that's true. I would agree.
And the only reason I would want to watch Nemesis again is because I'd kind of like to see some of the stuff they referenced in Picard that I only kind of remember. But it's probably not Voyager bad. Anyway.
I don't know. I watched Nemesis while we were watching Picard, and man, Data's death was just so underwhelming that I'm just like, all right, this movie is terrible.
Yeah, so I think that Nemesis might be worse than Star Trek V. Again, the hot takes that you're all coming to here when we were going to do a 20-minute show about the Discovery trailer. But I think all this stuff is interesting, and if you don't, you can tell us so in the chat. Flobo Boyce, what shows are you doing for AfterBuzz right now?
Yeah, I was on the what's the Anatomy of a Movie for that Camila Mendes film. She's from Riverdale, plays Veronica Lodge. It was called Dangerous Lies. Wasn't that good, but I was on it. And of course, the wrestling coverage: Monday Night Raw, Wednesday night NXT, and occasionally the Sunday night monthly pay-per-views. And wrestling is not the same with no one in the audience. It's kind of hard to sit through it, but I do it. But the action is still the same.
Look, and at least, they're following the Flobo Boyce mantra. They're providing new content every week.
That's what they're doing. That's one of the few things they're doing right. Yeah.
There are a lot of leagues and entertainment organizations that would love to be able to do what the WWE can do. And what they can do is bribe the governor of Florida to consider them essential. So, Disney should figure out a way to do that too, and then they'll be able to generate new content once in a while. Nikki, what are you doing these days over at AfterBuzz?
I am on a little AfterBuzz break until May 29th when Rami drops on Hulu, and we are going to do a whole day we're going to watch every single episode and record an after show every 2 hours or every other hour. So by Saturday, May 30th, you will be able to watch all of Rami and every after show for it. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I love the first season and I'm looking forward to the second. I'm not looking forward to that long ass day, but
No.
Hazard pay.
Yeah.
Pay.
Yeah.
But what the hell else do I have to do?
Well, there's that. Yeah, they used to do that with the Marvel Netflix shows, but by the time I was on the after shows, we would stretch them out over like a week and a half, and it was like I'm not going to watch them all in a day, and I'm like, and in fact, let's do 2 episodes per show. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what I missed.
That's what we're doing. We're doing 2 episodes per show.
Yeah. Well, that's what isn't that what we did for Chambers, Flobo? We would do a couple.
Yeah, for Chambers, but when Unbelievable broke, it was like, nope, we're doing an episode per one. But yeah, Chambers was definitely two a time, twice a week. So we did 4 one week, 4 the other, and then finish it up.
We're like amongst the only 2 people who watched Chambers, by the way. But we did a show for her. So anybody who finds it,
heard of it?
Yeah, of course.
Heard of it.
Uma Thurman's in it.
And even, as I said, it had Uma Thurman in it, and still nobody heard of it. Anyway, well, you'll be able to find me, let's see, on AfterBuzz, Tuesdays at 11 a.m., 2 p.m. Pacific. The Trump Report, there's stuff in the news to talk about, believe it or not. Thursdays, we have a little bit more of a fun show over on the Popcorn Talk Marvel Movie News, also at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Perhaps you can tell that my wife works afternoons. In any case, that's really it. But of course, you can always find me on the Blattcast, my my personal podcast, BLADTCAST. And it's like almost 2 months ago now, but Flobo was on.
Yeah, the beginning of the quarantine. We thought it'd be a couple weeks, not months.
Oh.
Yeah, we really did. We really thought it was just going to be a couple weeks. Yeah.
Nice. Now we know who's Christian's favorite on this panel is.
Right.
Cool.
I'm serious. Right. Yeah.
No,
I don't actually think he's ever been shy about that. The truth of that. So
who's my favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been pretty clear about that.
We're looking at 4 faces right now. I will tell you who the favorite is.
Like a true personal wrestler.
But Flobo's a close second.
Hey, I'll take it.
And then Nikki and Frank, you're both tied.
Wow. Thank you.
No.
Thanks.
Look, let's not forget.
What if we added like Rachel? What if we added some other people? Like,
if you want to add Rachel and Angelica.
And Angelica.
We can't top that.
Yeah.
I think that pushes me and Frank down even further. Like
you guys are still tied. That's really the key.
We're still tied at the bottom. It's okay. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Anyway, we also did a recent Star Trek Picard recap with some other non-AfterBuzz friends wanted to talk about it. So you'll find that at blattcast.com, BLADTCAST. I hope we get Discovery soon because it's been fun to talk to the 3 of you again. And you're all my favorite. That's really what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
Yeah, except for Jughead down there.
He's booing you. I love it.
It's been great getting to chat, and we'll have to do this again. Frank, where can people find you to keep in touch with you? Because everyone wants to keep in touch with you.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Waste your time and check out Happy Go Jackie.
Yes. Earlier today, Happy Go Jackie was talking about the opening of Super Train. So that's if nothing told you that that Frank Moran was a must follow, it's the fact that he's breaking down the opening titles of Super Train.
Did you watch that? Did you watch that opening?
I haven't, but when I heard about Snowpiercer, I immediately thought of Super Train. So
yes,
I'm probably more likely to just watch Super Train.
That Super Train intro is one of the most craziest intros. It's just lackluster in all respects. I don't know how that got approved. It's great.
All right. Well, now I know what I'm going to talk to you about when I bully you into coming on the Blackcast. We're doing an hour on Super Train. Flobo Boyce, people content. Where do they go to find it?
Definitely go to flobito.com. New content every week. But if you want to hang with me on that Patreon, patreon.com/FloboBoys, premium content every week.
Oh, man. Well,
plus you're doing that color commentary, right, Flobo?
Yeah, man. Rocket League Esports. Yeah, I'm doing my favorite games of all time. It's car soccer. I get to do the commentary for that too as well.
And don't you have
listen to a little bit of that?
Don't you have a game show appearance coming up?
Yeah, on May 28th, I'm going to be on the Masterminds Trivia Show featuring Ken Jennings, hosted by Brooke Burns.
Wait, do you go up against Ken Jennings?
Yeah, it's like American Gladiator style. It's like 3 regular Joes and like 3 pros, and they ask questions for all of us.
So basically, you get knocked into the water in the first 10 seconds.
The joust.
Well, that's exciting. I look forward to that. I look forward to the free content, but if you love Flobo more than I do, you can pay for the premium content. So that'll tell you right there that he's not my favorite. I'm not on board for the premium content, but you, as in the audience, should be. I shook my mic and my computer at different times. And Nikki Bailey, where can people keep in touch with you?
Oh, you can keep in touch with me at Nikki Bailey _ NikkiBaileyComedy.com, and also my sketch comedy team, Fatch, which is Fat plus Sketch equals Fatch. We are starting a new show called The Fat. You've got the real, you've got the view, you've got the talk, now you've got the fat, and that starts next Tuesday. So you'll find more information about that on my website and on my social media.
Next Tuesday being May 19th. So people keep their eyes peeled for that. And we, if you follow all of us, we will be sure to let you know when we will be back with the Discovery After Show. And look, if they give us another trailer, we'll just do this again, where we talk about the trailer for 15 minutes and then just evolve into nonsense. Yeah. But look, I would do this for another hour. I just feel like AfterBuzz would get really mad when I sent them the file. It's like, wait, it's 2 hours. You said it was going to be 15 minutes. So
let's see how much of it actually gets put up.
Oh, all of it. They're not going to edit. They're too busy. They all live in that house. They're producing new content every hour. They're going to take this. I'll be like, okay, so I shared a file with you. Great, post. I'm not even gonna look. So thank you to everybody. Yeah, thank you to everybody who joined us to watch this. Please leave comments down below, rate, review, all that good stuff. We will enjoy interacting with you in the interim before we get season 3 of Discovery. But until next time, live long and prosper.